Hello everybody and welcome back to Full Throttle Drive. Thank you so much for joining me on today's video. So for any of you new to the channel, this is my 2008 R8 V8 and we did a huge project over the winter with it, and as you can see we have a vinyl wrap. We actually wrapped it ourselves and it was a really fun but tedious process, and this is 3M's satin flip psychedelic wrap and we're completely done with it. There's a few small little tweaks we have to do, but the last major thing we have to finish up on is actually putting our emblems back on the car. Now when we actually took them off previous, we had to figure out the location. So we used some tape, and we actually have a tape kind of stencil outline on how to figure out where we put the emblems back. We're actually gonna be able to adhere the emblems right on top of our vinyl wrap, and if we ever decide to get rid of this vinyl wrap, we just pull the emblems off with it and then adhere them back onto the car. So I'm really interested to see how well this process goes. It looks like we can just use some double-sided tape, but you guys will get to see the final product. Thank you so much for joining me on today's video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So we're gonna start at the front of the car, and obviously the first thing we wanna do is make sure that we kind of clean the surface. For the most part, this area has already been cleaned. We've got the whole car pretty well cleaned up, but we'll go ahead and prep this surface right here. I can just take a cloth and make sure all the debris is removed from the vinyl wrap. It's so easy to clean this vinyl wrap, but it doesn't look like I have any grime or anything left where I'm actually gonna adhere the emblem. Now here we have the emblem that we took off, and you can see we have some kind of the double-sided tape left. We actually cut it with some fishing line to get it after we had heated it up, and it worked pretty well. We've got all of the residue actually taken care of under the vinyl wrap, but this shouldn't leave any on here. We can just again take it off if we so choose to remove the vinyl wrap. But we're gonna actually get rid of this under here, and then you'll see the process as we try to kind of cut out where we lay this double-sided tape in the inlay. So I just finished up getting all of the double-sided tape pretty much cleaned up, and now is the part that, again, I've never done before, but I should be able to lay the double-sided tape down and cut out kind of around it so that it sits in this little recessed area, and then we're pretty much just gonna apply it. So I made a row of double-sided tape on the back. Now what I have to do is really press this in here and make sure it recesses kind of into that emblem, and then I'm gonna cut out the stencil on the back side. I should be able to see where the stencil is, and make sure that you can't see any double-sided tape. You actually want a little bit on the inside. So actually most of this double-sided tape is gonna be gone. It's only gonna sit on the back side of here, and it should be perfect to get us laid down. So let's go ahead and get to cutting this out. So it's not pretty, but I do have all the double-sided tape on there. Now what I gotta do is as I flip it over, I see a couple pieces that are kind of peeking out there. So I'm gonna do a little bit of cleanup, and then I'm gonna pull all of this red tape, and I'm gonna try to adhere, where you'll see me actually lay down the kind of stencil area where we're gonna use the tape to make sure it's positioned in the right area. But we're making progress, which is important.
Close till I get up, time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left.
So we've got everything cleaned up, we're good to go. And now that we've got this laid, we have an idea of where we should place it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this as close as I can right in there. I'm actually going to go ahead and pull this up. Okay. It definitely looks like we're on there. So now we can move to the back of the car. We already got the front emblem on. We're gonna get our back emblem, and of course we have the R8. Now I do have kind of my stencil outline for where the R8 goes, but I don't for this one. This is the one we didn't do one because it actually was off center. I kind of measured it and it was farther to the left than the right. So we're actually gonna measure this and make our own little stencil outline and make sure it's all kind of where it should be and go from there.
We'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on.
Okay, and just like that, we have it back on. I know it wasn't a perfect science, but honestly, this can be taken off and redone if we really need to, but it's pretty good. And like I said, when we actually took it off, I did some measurements and it was farther over by like 3/4 of an inch this way over here. I don't know if there's a reason for that. If any of you guys are aware, please let me know in the comments. I'd be really curious as to why it was off. Again, everything was factory on it. It had never been wrapped or anything, so it should have been centered, or at least from my knowledge, it should have been centered. So now it is, and we're pretty happy with it. That double-sided tape seems really, really strong. I don't think we're gonna have any problems with it, and that's gone smoothly. So last thing to do is put the R8 in place. Okay, and just like that, we have the emblems back on the car. We've had them off for a while now. It's been like 3 or 4 months, and we've been driving the car around debadged. It didn't look too bad, but it's kind of nice to put them back on there. We tried to find carbon fiber ones. I thought that would be really neat, but I couldn't find any. Anybody knows any links to carbon fiber emblems for an Audi R8? Let us know, we'd be really interested. But guys, thank you so much for joining me on today's video. If you found it interesting, hit that thumbs up. We'd appreciate the support. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Tons of new content, as well as all of the new content coming up on the new C8 mid-engine Corvette. You all take care. We'll see you next video.